Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted in a while, and um, part of the reason is that I've been kind of busy with a new endeavor, and what I've actually been doing is cooking. I've been cooking for some homeless kids, and I I came across this organization um, in West Palm Beach that helps kids who have aged out of the foster care system. And in the state of Florida, and it's probably true for other states as well, that once a child who's in the foster care system hits the age of 18, the state basically says, okay, you're on your own now. And when I heard that, I have to admit, I was absolutely shocked, because I thought to myself, I really don't know how an 18-year-old would manage that. I mean, I know fully grown adults who would have a hard time doing that. You know, we're talking about get an apartment, afford an apartment, get a job, get a car so you can get to your job, pay for car insurance and all the other insurances that life throws at you. You know, finish your education. I mean, how in the world is an 18-year-old supposed to do that? And especially an 18-year-old who comes from a troubled background. This was a shocking proposition to me. Um, so, you know, and with so much money wasted in our governmental systems, both local and statewide and federal, there is so much waste, and these kids are, you know, these kids are the victims of bad parenting. I don't know how else to put it. To be absolutely honest, the only thing these kids did wrong was to have bad parents, right? When you think about it, because that's what put them in foster care to begin with. And so they're the ones who are paying the price for this bad parenting. And you know, they're struggling to make their way. Now, I don't want to paint a picture of some angelic kids here. These are kids who have gotten into trouble. They, you know, they have gotten into, a lot of them have gotten into drug abuse. A lot of them have been in jail. They've been arrested for all kinds of crimes. The girls almost invariably wind up pregnant. So the cycle continues, you know. And again, it all emanates from one thing, and that is lousy parenting. I can't stress enough the impact that parenting has on a child. If it's good parenting, the child grows up to be stable, relatively few obstacles to overcome. Good parenting does all those things. Bad parenting, or no parenting, causes the child to have no solid foundations. They They don't know what the right way to behave is. Um, they don't know the value of the right way to behave. Some of them can't even manage to be courteous and polite because nobody set an example for them. Um, the things that we take for granted, how you sit down and eat with other people, how you converse with people, um, basic things that we take for granted in society are missing, or missing or corrupted in these kids. So I started off by going down there once a week. I started by going on Thursdays, and sometimes I would have to bring some of the food that I was cooking. I didn't mind that so much. That didn't bother me. Um, but I also managed to find some sources for food uh, that are now delivering weekly to this organization, so that we can have, produce and canned goods, and they even bring meats, and of course I talk about this, with my friends, people I know, and they're eager to help too. They actually bring me bags of food to bring down there. The beauty of this organization, and I have no qualms about giving you more information about this organization. It's a nonprofit organization out of West Palm Beach. It's called Vita Nova, which is Latin for new life. So they try to provide as much help for these kids as possible, because they recognized how lost most of these kids are. So they have a clothing closet so that kids who come in filthy rags, because remember, many of these are homeless kids. They're living out on the street. And if you've ever had any kids, the thought of your 18-year-old child, son or daughter, living out on the street, that's heartbreaking. And I've seen them doing that in the middle of winter. Now, if you're watching this from some other part of the country, please let me dispel the thought that all we have in Florida is warm weather and balmy, delightful weather. In the winter here, which starts, I would say it starts in about the first week of December, the temperature starts to drop. We actually start getting, we'll transition from sweater and jacket weather into coats, hats, gloves. Temperatures drop down into the 30s and 20s sometimes here. People who don't know Florida don't know that. So the more I was finding out about these homeless kids, I was discovering that several of them, a lot of them, were actually spending the night out on the street. Now, Vita Nova has a program where they try to help the kids find housing, but they have some legal limitations when they're doing that. Sometimes all they can provide is a couple of nights off the street, but they can't actually permanently house the kids unless there are some parameters that have to be met in order for the kids to be eligible for more permanent housing. And some of the kids meet those requirements, but not all of them. So what Vita Nova is able to do, and they do a lot, they, as I mentioned, they are able to provide some clothing for these kids. Um, Lots of times when the kids are coming in off the street, many times they have not showered in a long time. Vita Nova had a shower room installed on in their premises, so the kids could come in, get cleaned up, get a clean change of clothing. Vita Nova also has a washer and dryer so that the kids can come in and do their laundry. And none of this costs the kids a cent. Um, Vita Nova has some wonderful donors who understand what's happening with these kids, and they make sure that they're providing help where they can. Another wonderful thing that Vita Nova does is they have an in-house GED program so that the kids, at no cost to themselves whatsoever, can get their GED. And many kids have done that. And whenever a couple of kids have gotten their GED, Vita Nova throws a big graduation party for them to show them how appreciated they are. Another thing that Vita Nova does is they provide like a computer room so that they can help the kids prepare resumes so that they can help them find jobs. Vita Nova has job fairs for them periodically on a regular basis to partner the kids with a potential employer so that they can find a job. So Vita Nova does a lot of things. They also provide psychological counseling for the kids. They have like therapists who come in and work with the kids to help them. And I've seen some of the effects on the kids. They talk about their group sessions. Vita Nova also has a van where they will load up a bunch of the kids and take them down to a gym so they can spend a couple of hours doing a healthy thing. So my part in helping the kids is I go down there. They have a fully equipped kitchen, and I go down there, and when I first started doing this, I was going down there once a week, and I was cooking a full meal. I would spend 3 hours cooking a full meal. I would plan a menu, bring some of the food, as I mentioned, but also using some of the food that was donated. And I would prepare a hot meal for the kids and give them second helpings if they wanted it, so that nobody left hungry. And Vita Nova makes this possible. So then after doing that for about a month and a half, and there's another woman whose name is Margie. I don't think she'd mind mentioning her name. She goes and cooks once a week down at Vita Nova. So she was cooking Wednesday, I was cooking Thursday. But then I started thinking to myself, wait a second, when neither of us is there, what's happening with the kids? Well, it turns out that the woman in charge, who is honestly a saint in disguise, her name is Liz, she would, between running around putting out fires, because that's what she does all day, she would prepare some food, like kind of on the go, but she would make sure that the kids had something to eat. And so I started to realize, this is taking time away from what Liz needs to be doing. So I offered to, when I was there on Thursday, I offered to cook for the kids on Thursday, and then when I got done cooking that meal, I started cooking another meal for Friday, so that would go in the fridge, and then all Liz had to do was take it out of the fridge and put it in the oven and heat it up. So I was doing that for a couple of months, and then I started thinking, I think I could manage to go in another day. Go in on Monday and cook for Monday and also cook for Tuesday at the same time. So between me and Margie, we covered the entire week. And boy, the kids were so appreciative. I mean, the kids are so sweet, they come over, they hug us. They tell us how thankful they are. They know, when you've been living out on the street and somebody prepares a hot home-cooked meal for you, made with love, and the kids know how much love it goes into these meals. They appreciate it. They're not stupid. So this is what I've been doing, and this is why I have not posted any of my sewing projects lately, because I have been quite busy with this, and I don't regret a minute of it. I love doing it. I love to see the changes in the kids. They know now that they're gonna get a good meal when they come down and get cleaned up, and it helps them feel like a human being again. Now, we can't undo what their parents did to them, or, I shudder to think what foster care has done to them, because I know that not all foster care situations are good ones. I know this. So all we can do is the little bit that we're doing. And I will say this, I began to understand, after cooking for the kids for a few months, I began to understand that of all the things that the kids need, and they need a lot, and not just material things, they need, as I said, they need counseling. They need someone to understand them. They need someone to try to get them on the straight and narrow. Someone to make them feel valued. In a word, they need love. They need someone to love them. A lot of those kids have never had love. They certainly were not getting the right kind of love from their parents, and maybe not from foster care either. So a lot of them are terribly needy for love. And I began to realize that, food, which I'm providing, and Margie is providing, and Liz is providing, food is the least of what they need. And these kids are desperately hungry. And food is the least of what they need. They need so much. So that's it. That's what I've been doing. And I've been wanting to post a video with an update on what I've been doing, and let you have a peek into my life and see what I've been doing. I still love to sew, of course. I still love to sew. And I'm sure I will return with some more projects. actually what I've been making a lot of little grocery bags out of fabric, because another thing that Vita Nova provides for the kids is a pantry, a food pantry, where they can come in and fill up a bag with food, again, for nothing. This is free for them, and I'm sure has kept many of them from starvation, because they have no money. They have nothing. These kids have nothing. So I've been making a lot of these, they're very simple bags, and trust me, they're nothing fancy. They're not even made well enough to sell, if I ever had the thought to sell them. They're just, I just crank them out as fast as I can, so that the kids will have some bags to use for their pantry shopping. So that's it. I thank you if you stuck with me so far. I'm 21 minutes into this video. I hope you understand what's been happening, and you know, you might have something in your community that is similar. If you like what I'm doing, I would love it if you gave me a comment. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know if that's something you would ever think about doing in your community. I can tell you that it's one of the most satisfying things I have ever done, and I have volunteered at many places over the years. I have to say that this work has changed my life. It's as simple as that. It has changed my life. And now that my own two boys, who I cherished from the moment they were born, and have always been the most valuable and treasured parts of my life, now I can help other kids who need it. So I send out my love, and let me know what you think. And till the next time, take care.